Ryan Day had nothing but good things to say about freshman legend Bay and clarifying just what he expects from a prodigious talent and a guy that's just so much fun to watch play football. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. What do you think Legend Bay will turn into at Ohio State? His recruiting is one of the more entertaining that we've seen in the last 5 years. It reminds me quite a bit of Jamar Chase's recruitment, when dude flipped commitments like 5 times, mostly based on how many wide receivers were at each school that he was committing to. Ultimately ended up at LSU and turning into one of the best wide receivers that they've ever produced, a Biletnikoff Award winner and a national champ. With Legend Bay, it's fun because this happens in the age of revenue share, name, image, and likeness, and puts at the center 2 of the biggest brands in all of college football. Bay was committed and signed to Tennessee, but after visiting Ohio State and Carlos Lachlan staying on him, it was clear to anybody that would just read that man's tweets that he wanted out of his commitment and then out of his signing at Tennessee to go play at Ohio State. Mama said no. And usually, Mama wins a recruiting battle. But in the age of a kid turning 18, it looked like it was inevitable because Tennessee knows good business is to let that man out of his letter of intent, recover anything that was owed, and then let him go on his way to Columbus. And that's ultimately what happened. But there was a reason why Tennessee wanted him so badly and why they were willing to try to work this out with him, even as it was becoming acrimonious. And a reason why Ohio State wants him very badly. And it is precisely because of the kind of playmaker that he showed himself to be. He played quarterback in high school. But if you watch the film, you'll see that playing quarterback for him looked a lot like Little League, where your best player is also your number 3 hitter, your 3-hole, and your best pitcher, right? So they would snap the ball to the quarterback, him, and then run zone or run power read or run just power, right? Counter. They would give him the ball and say, all right, let's see what you do with it. And he would take it the distance. Some games he'd score 5 touchdowns. Other games he'd score 6. And that is what Ryan Day was so infatuated with. And his comparison for him is probably a guy that ends up in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but we'll see given how things have progressed for him on and off the field. I'm thinking about, Tyreek Hill in this instance. So Legend Bay is a guy who is dynamite. That's what Ryan Day said. He used the term dynamite. He went on, I kind of call him maybe the poor man's Tyreek Hill. I mean, he can go. And when you watch him last year play quarterback in Texas, 5 touchdown games, 6 touchdown games, just running around, making guys miss, he's lightning in a bottle. So he can do a bunch of different things for us. That was Tyreek Hill at Oklahoma State as well. Famously, Bob Stoops kept punting that man the football, and all Tyreek Hill kept doing was running it back. And about the 3rd time, I kept yelling, no. We cannot punt the ball to this man anymore. Punts again. So much so that later on, when basketball season rolls around, there was a memorable moment where I caught a photo of an old Oklahoma State fan in an orange onesie that had black letters across it that read, "Punt it again, Bob." And I'm thinking, oh my God, that was the damage that Tyreek Hill was doing at Oklahoma State. And then he gets to Kansas City and turns into one of the best wide receivers in all of football. Just getting him the ball in space. That's all that needed to happen. So what do we expect from him this spring? Day went on. He's excited to see him in the spring, kind of figures out how he fits into the offense. Now he's a freshman, but okay, he's got the ability. So that's the great thing about getting these guys in here mid-year. They can get to go through it, and by the time it gets to August and September, they're not freshmen anymore. Now they got to go, and they came here to play. So excited that one worked out for us as well. This is another unmitigated win for Ohio State, I think, because the talent is there. And he's also going to a position of need for Ohio State. After losing C.J. Donaldson to the NFL and losing James Peoples to Penn State, you're left with Bo Jackson as your only real contributor on a big scale for the Buckeyes at tailback with over 1,000 yards rushing last year. Isaiah West figures into this as well, I know. And Turbo Rogers will also figure into this. But I think many people are excited to find out just where Legend Bay fits into the mold there, because sticking him at a running back feels a lot like sticking Travion Henderson at running back. Hand him the ball and watch what he does with it. And if he matures in the way that we expect and the speed remains, the sky's the limit for what he can do. And Ohio State craves two running backs that can absolutely take it the distance. That's what they had in 2024 that led to them winning the national championship. They had Quinshawn Judkins and they had Trey Henderson. They had Thunder and Lightning, but Thunder could take it all the way and Lightning could stand people up and pass pro. That's a well-balanced running back room. And Carlos Loughlin continues to keep with his mantra of recruiting. Each year, he's trying to recruit somebody that is going to make sure the guy that he just got here signed doesn't play football. Make it a competitive room. Have each one of those guys understanding that their best is always going to be necessary to play in the backfield at Ohio State. And I think when you go to Columbus and you want to wear that scarlet and gray and you're chasing gold pants, Big Ten championships, national championships, you understand that is the lay of the land, right? You have to earn it each and every time you step into the Woody. If they get back to playing the kind of football that they showed late in 2024 and 2026, sky's the limit for this team. It is not out of the question for them to return to the national championship game. They play in the strongest conference in all of college football. The last three national champions come from the Big Ten. And they've been able to, for the most part, beat everybody they're supposed to. And the teams that they lost to, Oregon, 2024, was number one team in the country when they went into the quarterfinals against Ohio State. Indiana took over the number one spot from them and proceeded to become the first team to finish 16-0 since Yale in 1894. It's not good enough for Ohio State fans that they were beaten by two very good teams, even if they won the national championship, because they also need to beat Michigan every single year, and they need to win the Big Ten championship for the first time since 2020. And I think Ryan Day needs at least one more national championship to try to quiet the people that continue to make fun of him. One of the comments that I saw on this channel was Ryan Cooper, which is not John Cooper, and what he couldn't do against Michigan or what he couldn't win as a national champion. I get it. I understand. And I get that the bar is where the bar is because that's what the Buckeyes have been for the better part of 100 years. But when you're bringing in this kind of talent, it's hard not to be enthusiastic. It's hard not to look forward to the future. And I will remind everybody it's February, which means there's a lot of moving and shaking. There's no more transfer portal to worry about. Your squad, for the most part, is your squad. Like, guys can always come out of the transfer portal, but they're not entering it until in the next season, right? You grad transfers and whatnot. So now it's about trying to coalesce the team. It's about trying to make the team into a better spot, into a better team than it was last year. Understanding that you don't carry over anything from what you did or didn't do last year. And this year is all about what you can do and how good you can be in it. And I think Legend Bay could signal a leap forward at a position where they were frankly not that good in 2025 and have every intent of being better in 2026.